Hello people, and welcome back to News Review. In this video, I'll be going over the new cards being introduced in the upcoming week. If you're a new or returning player, I do recommend you check my new player guide. It'll help you better understand what I'm saying in the video. I won't bore you by presenting every single thing in the full news, so open up the patch notes, link in the description if you want to follow along, and let's get right into it. Some events from previous weeks are still going as well, so be sure to watch my previous videos if you want info on those. Additionally, I'm trying a new thing where I buy a guild stage for every 10 subscribers I hit, which will give you a diamond if it's your first time clearing it. The next milestone will be at 380 subscribers, so subscribe and also join the guild. Code in the description if you want to participate in that. I'll also be announcing when I do on my Discord server, so hop in there if you want to be updated on that as well. Alright, let's get right into the new content. First off, as you can see, there's a new collector's deck with 5 quote-unquote new cards. As usual, you are guaranteed all the cards in 20 draws, which is equivalent to 100 diamonds. Also, as is common for the most recent collector's decks, the characters are rebranded versions of past collab characters, which is why I put the quote-unquote around the new there. The first card in there is a Dark Human Silovic, which is the OC version of Gintoki from Gintama, where the leader and team skill are a copy and paste with higher multipliers, and you just basically replace water with dark. Another point they added is in the team skill, where he can ignore anti-runestone shield, but it's largely the same as Gintoki, where the series is the other Good Shepherd members, which are basically just the 5 cards in the collector's deck, as opposed to the Gintama series. For his active, it's once again a copy and paste, but I thought I would put the full thing up here since the boards do look a little bit different from Gintoki. I would have said that ignoring equal combo shield is pretty rare, but after looking it up, I realized I forgot the recent VR protagonist, which covers all attributes of humans, so this card isn't even unique in that regard. This image shows the fixed boards of Silovic. I took it from Yao Live, a way bigger YouTuber, so I don't think anyone will mind. This shows that the 3 boards that Silovic has, where they kind of look the same as Gintoki's, but not really, since the numbers of each type of runestone has been altered. Gintoki does have like a quintet board, but in his one, the bottom row here, it's heart and the sides are water, so this just has like way less heart. For this one, the old one used to be, I believe, actually 16 water and 14 heart. This one is 16 heart and 14 dark. Also, the pattern is from like another collab card that's not Hatsune Miku. And for this one, it's light and dark instead of fire and water, obviously, since this is a dark human card. Next is a Light Dragon Lilenia, an OC version of Imperial Dramon from Digimon. Her active is a 2-choose-1 skill and basically copies the 2 skills of the OG in both forms respectively. The board actually looks the same. I'll have an image that shows that later, but the skills I think are basically identical. Maybe they added some like enchanted or race runestone component. Maybe they like mess with the numbers, but it's actually just the same. She does have a unique team skill. I don't know like what they like stole this from, or if this is just some kind of extra functionality they decided to give her. When there are 3 Good Shepherd members, when there are 3 or more Good Shepherd members in the team, and Lilenia is also in the team, when a character runestone is triggered, so it doesn't have to be hers, but if you end that movement with the character runestone below her, then electrify the enemies for 1 round after attacking. They might have taken that from like Monster Strike, maybe? I'm not quite sure, but kind of a weird thing to put together there as well. For the third card, we have an Earth Demon Carmilla, who is a combination of Apocalypse, who is also originally from Digimon, and Estarossa, originally from 7 Deadly Sins. People on Chinese Reddit have already made a ruckus about this card, but I'll talk about why people are getting mad after I go over her skills. Her active shown here comes from Apocalypse, making her the 2nd ever demon to stat clear. This is CD6, clear all additional effects in play for 1 round. All runestones have the effect of all runestones. Unlimited runestone without dissolving, and if there is Silovic in the team, full heal, the character's attack times 10, and the character's damage will be dealt regardless of puzzle shield. In the original I think a Pokemon actually ignores something that's not Puzzle Shield. They changed that. I don't remember what the original was specifically. For her team skill comes straight from Estarossa, where it's actually just written in that you can't like put both of them in the team. It's literally the exact same thing. Also same with Lilenia. When a character runestone is triggered and ends in the column below her, she launches 6 extra attacks, as much as 10% of its attack. I think this takes from Monster Strike, but once again, not that useful. So, in regards to the team skill, if you don't know what Estarossa's team skill is that members with attack base value lower than Estarossa or Carmilla attack times 2, and other members with attack base value higher than those two cards' attack becomes 0. So it's basically, you know, you give an attack boost to cards that are in the attack stat weaker than the numerical value. So there are 2 points of people getting mad about this. The first point is that they shouldn't have put these two skills together, and I'm referring to the active skill and the team skill that I just talked about, because Estarossa's team skill can mess with certain teams. I think that this is a reasonably good argument, since you primarily probably want this card for the stat clear if you haven't got a Pokemon, and the team skill is kind of just forced to come along for the ride, which might just mess with your teams. The second point that people are mad about is the attack stat of the card, which admittedly is lower than Estarossa at base, and people started saying that she couldn't go in Napoleon teams. But to me, this is a ridiculous argument, and since Estarossa, and now by extension this Carmilla, was never meant to go in those kinds of teams. They were meant to buff what was weak, not what is already strong. Like, Estarossa in Napoleon was never a thing, and I suppose like you could have been like coping and hoping that this card like became like a better version of that with an insanely high attack. But that doesn't really fit with the team skill, the intention of the team skill, in my mind anyway. However, don't let that fool you. The fact that it messes with teams like Napoleon is still bad card design, because as I said before, you're probably using this card for the stat clear, and jamming those two skills together in one card is just bad, because demon stat clears are so rare. This is the second one ever. So if you want a stat clear, you're kind of forced to pull this one, but you can't use it in Napoleon. And I think that's like the biggest thing. Like if you're using it in Napoleon for the stat clear, I'm like, sure, you know, I understand your pain. If you wanted to buff Napoleon, you're out of your mind. Anyway, rant over. We move on to the fourth card, a Fire God Cassiel, which is the OC version of Punglai from Monster Strike. In terms of skill description, it is a straight copy, but the board is a little different in terms of positioning, where it just straight up gives you 3 crosses. It is at this point in writing the script that I actually realized the OG Punglai can actually achieve the same board with minimal spinning, so this card has helped me with that fact, if nothing else. Once again, ignore Eco Combo Shield and anything insanely unique, even with the attribute change from water to fire. This shows the fixed boards of the new cards that I just went over. So this is the 3 cross board that I was talking about. The actual amount of runestones in here is the same as Punglai, so with a little bit of spinning you can actually achieve this. Lilenia's board is just the same one, if I recall correctly, from Imperial Dramon, and this board is actually for an upcoming card that I'm gonna talk about a bit later. Lastly, we have Water Dragon Milton, who is the OC version of Todoroki from My Hero Academia, which is only good because dragon cards have historically sucked, because his active skills are a straight copy. This is, yeah, as I said, this is just a straight copy and paste again. This 1 choose 2, but dragons have had very few cards that can freeze and ignite, which makes this card somewhat good. Obviously there are still, you know, just replacements if you just want dragons that can freeze or ignite, but I think Ursula is the only other one that can freeze. There are a bunch of others that can ignite though, none of them water, but still. When a character's runestone is triggered and you end below Milton, the Milton skill CD -1, and if there is the original Milton also in the team, then this Milton becomes fire attribute, kind of like a neat thing that nobody's gonna use ever. But they didn't give him the bond skill that allows him to ignore ignite, which is like 50% of the reason why Todoroki was good in the first place, so this card is kind of disappointing. This series has a new Dragonware as well, which can only be equipped by the character in the series. To be frank, it's just not that good. It's your standard, like, you know, here's some stats kind of Dragonware. In terms of the skills, really nothing special, so let's just move on. There's going to be multiple black gold cards returning in other news, along with discounts that might entice you to draw, but if you're not sorely in need of a leader, I do advise you to wait a little bit, since there will almost certainly be an upcoming Chinese New Year black gold, which will likely be better than all of these in terms of being a leader, with possible exceptions in the speedrun category given to Napoleon and Una, because those are just teams that are naturally very fast and easy. That being said, if you do want to spend diamonds, the discounts aren't bad. First off, you got diamond rebates, where a rebate of 5 diamonds will be given to summoners for every 50 diamonds consumed, up to a 30 diamond limit. You get bonus summon rewards by summoning 40 diamond seal cards. In the event, you'll get a dual max Keanu, which is a pretty good fire elf card, a black gold exclusive Dragonware Redemption coupon, which you can choose between Dodgy Napoleon's or Ball and Eve's Dragonware, and Remodeling Hammer ×1. Yeah, I believe it's 40 that you get the max rewards. So, and thirdly, you also, if you draw for a Napoleon, you also get a free dual max Harvard, because supposedly those cards are meant to go together, but I really haven't seen them go together, even though I have both. Oh well. Moving on, because this news is for some reason very, very long. There is another event / series called the Believer of Forest. This is a free event where there will be 3 deadly sins. I don't know where the other 4 went. Where you clear the event stages to deduct event characters' HP. I think this is kind of like a world boss thing, maybe. They also come with their own team skill that does buff stats when you have 2 or more Believer of Forests members in the team. Those members' HP, attack, and recovery base value times 1.5, and skill CDs -2 after entering a stage. But I think this is unlikely to be too useful, since the races and attributes of the cards don't seem to match up. First off, we have a Heresy Founder. This is a Dark Human. This is not a card that you can get by beating a stage, but this is like in the sort of like, the more HP you deduct from the world boss, then you get this super skill character. If you don't know what a super skill character is, you just basically need to obtain a lot of copies, because it's capped at skill level 70. For its active CD 5 for the first one, by tapping a runestone with magic circle elements 2 times, explode runestones not of the first type tapped to generate enchanted human runestones of the second type tapped. So this is like mass explosion conversion, basically. For 1-man Believers of Forest members attack ×2, the character's attack times 2.5 additionally, and if Dark is tapped, turn all runestones into Enchanted Dark at the end of the round. For its second active, it is CD 6, clear fatigue, hypnotize, and wind-step state of BOF members, ignoring hypnosis and wind-step, of course. And BOF members enter or stay in a hyper state for 2 rounds, and for 1 round, the character attack times 10, and non-BOF members launch no attack. This is actually quite solid in terms of both skills. The first one is something that is rarely seen, even in humans, the like freely explosion conversion kind of thing. And the last point here with a non-BOF launching no attack is actually useful for once, since they gave this card a high enough multiplier to actually be used for retribution shields. If you add up all the multipliers on both, if you activate both at the same time, you get 10 times 2 times 2.5, which is like 50 if I haven't done the math wrong. And that is quite solid. You can like that is something that, you know, without anything else, you can probably just knock out you know, enemies in 1 hit nowadays with your, like, obviously your team has to be good, but this card is capable of doing that, so very nice. They've been printing cards that say, you know, some members launch no attack, and then the character doesn't have enough attack in the first place, so this card does quite good. They're also introducing a new Dragonware, the Rock Altar. Anyone can equip this. The special thing about this is that the character's active skill CD will be -2 after entering the stage, which is quite good for speedrun purposes, but apart from that, not really anything special. Still within the same series, we have another new card. This will actually come from the first challenge stage, the Fire Beast Wolf Chieftain. Where it's active in CD6, if leader is a beast, CDs of all enemies will be delayed for 1 round. For 2 rounds upon skill activation at the end of each round, recover half your HP and turn the combo leader into enchanted fire beast runestones. The leader's attack times 2.5 and damage will be dealt regardless of fixed combo shield. On paper, this card is pretty bad, but this is actually the first ever fire beast card to ignore fixed combo shield, which honestly just shows how bad the beast pool has historically been more than anything else. So yeah, this card is unique in that respect, but not anything like too good actually in terms of, you know, the skill itself. Moving on, we have another new ultimate card, Ron. This is a dark human, CD6 explode. I mean, you can see it. I put the full thing up here because it's kind of hard to like verbally describe that, but he gets rid of light, dark, and heart to generate water, fire, and earth. And if Silovic is in the team, you get a fixed board that I showed earlier. For 1 round, water, fire, and earth also possesses the effect of dark, and by dissolving water, fire, or earth, the character in Silovic's damage ignores Quintet Elemental Shield. This is quite a unique card in that it is a dark card that generates water, fire, and earth and gets rid of light and dark. So, you know, maybe it'll come in handy in some sort of niche use in the future. The new Battle Pass card for this rotation is Fire God Alma. It's not that good. I put the full thing up here again because there's a lot of icons. There are already plenty of cards out there that do the same thing, and ignoring Trio and Quintet is only for herself. So, like, it's really not that good, even though it is a stat. Lastly, we have a new bi-weekly card, the Dark Beast Mo, who looks like an OC version of Sadaharu from Gintama, you know, if you just look at the skill from a glance. But it's actually kind of different in terms of the descriptions. The conditions are the same, where it's Silovic's pet. CD6, for if there are only beasts in the team, all members attack times 2 and you ignore initial shield. Otherwise, damage received minus 80%, and if there is Silovic in the team, both effects will be granted and this skill stays in play for 1 more round. This is actually the first ever Dark Beast to ignore initial shield, making it quite unique. For my rankings for the Diamond Seal cards, it's as follows. Silovic goes in a little bit higher, so it's 50 diamonds, and then the rest of the cards just drop off. If you have all 5 of these cards, the OC versions, I don't think you need to pull. I'm probably not going to pull, just because of that reason. The reason why you would want Silovic is because, I mean, the fixed boards maybe are kind of useful. Like, Gintoki's fixed boards remained very useful past, like, his use as a leader. Although I'm not sure Silovic's boards will have the same effect since they changed that fact. For Lilenia is basically unchanged. I mean, Imperial Dramon is a good card, but I haven't seen it be used too much. Carmilla has the awkward problem that I talked about before, where they jammed 2 card skills into 1, making kind of a car crash. So, unless you're like sorely in need of a stat clear, and if you are, you would be playing Napoleon, which this card doesn't have good synergy with. But if you are sorely in need of a demon and stat clear, then I guess you could pull just for this card. The Fire God Cassiel kind of is the same thing. I mean, Punglai, I don't use Punglai in really any of the actual clears. I use it for speed running. But that's just because she has the craft that reduces her CD by 3. The rebrand doesn't have that luxury. And Milton is kind of the same argument. He is replaceable, doesn't have the best part of the OC card. Kind of useless if you already have your, like, the entire dragon box apart from him. So yeah, I mean, I do just, like, especially, this is probably the worst investment option. Probably some of the returning black golds will be a better investment option. None of these cards actually stick out. A rather disappointing collector's deck, to be honest. For my ranking of the free cards, actually, this looks quite a bit different. For Heresy Founder, I think this is actually quite a solid card. despite the human member kind of like flood. This will probably be useful for some sort of Retribution Shield, since there are still relatively few cards in general that can solve Retribution Shield. There are a lot of them in the human pool, but you know, if you don't have any of them, this card's a good one. For Wolf Chieftain, he kind of sucks, but the only reason he goes a little bit of Get 1 is because he is the first fire beast to ignore fixed combo shield. Ron goes in the Get 1 tier, not because he's bad, but because I think he's super niche. Alma goes in Get 1 because I do think she's bad. And Mo goes a little bit above Get 1 for kind of the same reason. I think this is a card that like is sort of mediocre, but it is the first Dark Beast that can do what it can do. For the celebration events, there's actually not much that hasn't been covered in the main news. It's mainly just going over what rewards you'll get for doing specific stages, but if you're doing them all anyway, you don't really have to care about that, and there's nothing like, you know, super urgent like the 3-star Chronon card that, you know, appeared last week. The returning ultimate for this week is the Fire Demon Shade, a useless card, so you're fine with just clearing the stage once and being done with it. That'll be it for this week's news review. Leave a like if you liked it, comment below if you have anything to say to me, and subscribe if you liked it in general. It really helps the channel out, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!